Special Counsel Jack Smith and his team just got embarrassed today after this massive shouting match in court. I mean, this is so unprofessional, guys. This is unprofessional. Yeah, so it's not just Fani Willis's office, but apparently it happens in other courtrooms. Anyway, this is related to former President Donald Trump's classified documents case, and there's a common denominator here that a lot of people have noticed, and I want to see if you guys have noticed this too. So basically, the common denominator, we're going to talk about this here in a second. Why do these prosecutors just keep shouting at Donald Trump's team? I mean, like, what's up with that, right? Like, where's the professionalism? So, especially when what they're being told could possibly be considered a bombshell. In other words, more of a smoking gun, so to speak. So the same could actually be said for Judge Juan Merchan when the defense's top witness destroyed the testimony of Michael Cohen in Donald Trump's hush money case, right? Anyway, he shouted at the defense witness and wanted to remove his entire testimony. Is it because they're lying, or is it because they're saying something that's hitting a little bit too close to home? Now, that's the real question. And it's not just the defense that Jack Smith's team is shouting at. They're also shouting at the judge. It's crazy. And this is also eerily similar to what District Attorney Fani Willis's team does with their cases, right? Now, I'm not really sure if you guys remember, but one of her top prosecutors shouted at a judge. I know, it sounds crazy. One of her top prosecutors shouted at a judge for refusing to admit last-minute evidence. Now, first of all, why are you bringing this evidence to the judge at the last minute? Like, this is no one's fault but your own, right? Meanwhile, they're yelling at the judge. And it's as if these prosecutors, they get pissed off whenever they don't get their way. Like just essentially throwing a temper tantrum in the middle of the courtroom. Did they actually think that these courtrooms would just let these fools do whatever they wanted to do? And the best part is Donald Trump's classified documents case. It's basically Donald Trump's classified documents case. The news outlets like MSNBC, they're pouring it in, and they're basically admonishing Judge Aileen Cannon. I mean, they're so twisted and sideways in their thinking. They're literally blasting Aileen Cannon and basically saying that she's not doing her job. Take a listen.
It will ever happen. Talk about what happened in court today and why things got so heated so quickly.
Stephanie, there's a dispute over whether Woodward, the lawyer for Nauta, was offered a judicial position, and it was tanked by the federal government because his client did not comply. So this is a real personal dispute between the lawyer for Nauta and the prosecution. But in the end, this stuff really is exactly what the government says it is, garbage, because these are delay tactics. Most judges would have just dismissed this stuff out of hand. Prosecutors have a lot of leverage on how they can compel people to testify or at least cut deals with them. But Judge Cannon has been slow walking this case from the beginning. Judge Cannon has given in all the delay tactics, and it's so frustrating because most other judges would either dismiss this or just hold a hearing and combine all the motions into one. But she just does one hearing at a time, and she is doing something that other judges would never do. She's all alone in this satellite courthouse, Stephanie, in Fort Pierce. That's part of the problem. There's no adult supervision there. And so she's giving in to all of Trump's requests. This is like paralysis by analysis. This is dilatory purgatory. And it's so frustrating for all of us.
Well, okay. Now, guys, keep in mind, this is MSNBC, and I think you guys, I don't think I have to release any more about that. It's MSNBC. Now, according to Judge Cannon, she wants to deal with the unresolved motions in the case first. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, we've heard from a number of different legal experts, analysts that agree with Judge Cannon in handling these unresolved motions first. Now, before we really kind of like deep dive into this thing, I just want to thank y'all for tuning in. Thanks for hitting the like button for the video. Thank you for subscribing. You guys are amazing. Appreciate you guys. Happy Sunday. What's up, Catalia? Happy Sunday to you as well. We got Danny Bergeron. I'm sorry, Borgen. Sorry. Anyway, Don Pearson, Scott Hill. What is going on? Edmund Dantas. Okay, Brandy Philippa. All right. Now, according to Judge Aileen Cannon, she wants to handle these outstanding unresolved motions in the case before doing anything else. And it makes a lot of sense, because if she doesn't, then we could all be wasting even more time, right? But these analysts and Jack Smith's team, they want to have a trial before the 2024 presidential elections between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Yet, they confidently say that this is not politically motivated. So if it's not politically motivated, then what's the hurry, right? Something that critics of the Biden administration have been calling them out for, because all of these same charges are coming up the same year as the elections. I mean, even Ray Charles can see this, right? But let's just kind of go back just a little bit to how Judge Cannon had to personally tell a prosecutor to calm down in her courtroom. Now, you guys heard Walt Nauta's name a second ago, right? He's one of Donald Trump's co-defendants in the classified documents case. Now, Nauta argued that the Department of Justice vindictively charged him and that he wanted the case to be dismissed. Nauta is being accused of moving boxes of sensitive materials to prevent federal agents from retrieving them. Now, Stanley Woodward, who is Nauta's attorney, had a very heated argument with a prosecutor regarding a meeting that happened back in August of 2022. Now, Woodward says that he was pressured into the meeting by a member of Jack Smith's team to push Nauta to cooperate with the DOJ investigation. But a prosecutor for Jack Smith's team by the name of Jay Bratt, he allegedly insinuated that Woodward's appointment to the DC Superior Court would be negatively affected if Nauta did not play ball. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but this definitely sounds a lot like blackmail. Does it sound like blackmail to you guys? Now, the prosecution, though, David Harbach, he rose from their side and said that this was a garbage argument, saying that Woodward's story is nothing more than fantasy. Harbach was reported to be shouting and banging his hand on a table in front of him and said that this event didn't even happen. Now, Judge Cannon, she then told Harbach, calm down. Now, it's a completely logical choice of words, especially as you cannot get caught up in your emotions during these proceedings in a courtroom, guys. However, Harbach raised his voice even more, even after being told by the judge to calm down. Now, while pounding the podium with his index finger, Harbach said that Judge Cannon's characterization of what he said just moments earlier was wrong. Unbelievable, right? Now, clearly, Donald Trump's team can't get away with this in the hush money trial against Stormy Daniels, right? Donald Trump's lawyers would have been either kicked out of the courtroom, arrested, whatever. So it's a different story over here. Harbach reportedly lost his cool multiple times during his hearing. Now, some analysts have suggested that the prosecution is just surprised that these series of events are even being discussed. Maybe, just maybe though, maybe they thought that they wouldn't even be brought up. And to be honest, guys, a lot of critics believe that Harbach's outburst of anger, I think it probably actually shows a little bit more guilt than innocence, because it sure does seem like the defense kind of hit them where it hurts the most. Now, it could also be the prosecution's frustration with Judge Cannon, because it's kind of obvious that they want to speed things up, trying to get Donald Trump hemmed up, locked up, indicted, or thrown in jail before the election. That is what they would love to do. But like Judge Aileen Cannon has said before, she wants to deal with the other legal disputes and outstanding motions before, within this case, before moving forward. And it makes a lot of sense, right? You don't start building the roof of a house before doing the foundation. So, but just look at how the prosecution has been forced to admit that they lied about the order of the classified documents. Now, we all know now that the FBI was given the green light to use, get this, guys, deadly force on the former president, Donald Trump, if they thought that it was necessary in order to retrieve the said documents. I mean, Joe Biden's administration has given the FBI approval to use deadly force in Melania Trump's home, in Donald Trump's home, a former president, to get papers that we later discovered that the federal government shipped to Donald Trump's home. This is unbelievable. Not only is this a setup, but they were preparing for a shootout. And this is something that Special Counsel Jack Smith also took note of. So, but he also saw nothing wrong with it. So there's something wrong with this guy. There's clearly something wrong with this guy. There's some ulterior motives. But Jack Smith also has recently asked Judge Aileen Cannon to put a gag order on Donald Trump. Can you believe this, guys? A gag order for Donald Trump? Another gag order, technically, right? So this definitely sounds very familiar to what's happening to the former president and DA Alvin Bragg. So, because as you guys know, for the Manhattan trial with Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels and DA Alvin Bragg, Judge Juan Marchand put a gag order on Donald Trump about a month ago. So Jack Smith says that Donald Trump should be forbidden from making statements that, quote, pose a significant, imminent, and foreseeable danger to law enforcement agents participating in the investigation and prosecution of this case. Of course, the former president commented on the FBI's use of force policy, deadly force in this case, and it was implemented with the Mar-a-Lago raid. Now, this policy, it would allow FBI agents to use deadly force if they believe that the subject of such force poses an imminent danger to the officer themselves or another person. But guys, the FBI was going to Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida to get some papers. Why do you even need to bring guns? You should have been able to just send a courier over to Donald Trump's house and be like, hey, let me get those papers back that we shipped to your house in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is so dumb. This is a very sloppy setup by the DOJ. The FBI defended themselves and said that these contingencies are routine. Although this was a raid of a former president's home. I don't know how routine that is. I mean, how often does that happen, right? But FBI claims that this is a routine operation. It's routine to use this level of force. Go figure, right? Again, we're talking about Donald Trump here. So the rules have a tendency to be manipulated and are often different for him. By the way, if you guys haven't already, please do your boy a favor, hit the like button for the video. Totally appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. But yeah, like this is what he is dealing with here, guys. The FBI said that this is FBI saying this, right? The FBI said that similar language was used in the operation plan to search President Joe Biden's properties in Delaware. But you got to ask though, did they bring the medics to Joe Biden's house? Because that's what they did in Florida, in Mar-a-Lago for Donald Trump's place. They brought the medics to Donald Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago, Florida, to collect these classified documents. Now, you got to ask, why do you need medics? It seemed by all of the facts that, that got put together, that they were expecting a shootout with the Secret Service. I mean, what else can you make of it? Now, we're not really sure if Judge Cannon would actually place a gag order on Donald Trump for these comments, especially as some analysts believe that the former president is merely stating the truth. Donald Trump's campaign spokesperson, Stephen Chung, he said that all of these attempts to silence the former president during this presidential campaign, they're just, blatant attempts at election interference. But of course, I leave the opinions, the decisions, the judgment to you guys. What do you think? Should a gag order be placed on Donald Trump for this case? Or should Trump be free to be able to practice his right as an American citizen to exercise his First Amendment right, freedom of speech. Should Donald Trump be able to speak his mind? So what are y'all thinking? Katalia, thank you so much. I work out pretty often, so glad it's paying off. Appreciate you. Ron Murrin says Jack Smith is acting like he has the power of the presidency behind him. You know what? I think Jack Smith definitely has the power of the presidency behind him. A lot of folks are saying that the president is the reason why Donald Trump is dealing with all these litigation related issues right now. Let's see, John Wilkins, they are not used to a judge that actually does their job. I would have to agree with you, sir. Judge Aileen Cannon is like the only judge actually doing her job out of all of these judges. And I'm pretty sure that the only reason why Donald Trump is in a courtroom presided by a non-Democrat judge is probably because they didn't have any other options for him. Now, again, Judge Aileen Cannon was appointed by Donald Trump, but I don't really see favoritism from Aileen Cannon. I see more of a level playing field more than anything else. I kind of expected a little bit of favoritism, but at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, Judge Aileen Cannon knows that there's a lot of eyes on this very high profile case. She's very smart. She's not an idiot. She's not going to do something that's going to compromise herself, her name, her brand. And so, she's playing fairly. And that's about all I can say about that one. The other judges, Judge Scott McAfee, definitely better than Judge Juan Merchan. Merchan is just blatantly doing whatever he wants to do and showing a high degree of favoritism and has all sorts of characteristics and evidence of a biased judge who should have been recused himself. So, that's where we are on the judge situations. Name rough. Has anyone suggested a gag order for the? Looks like you started a sentence but didn't finish. Okay. Let's see. So Christopher Deavy says Swamp, aka CIA, Big Tech, who aka or Drain the Swamp 2024. Oh, Donald Trump's going to drain that swamp if he gets in there. Katalia, thank you always for helping me out in the comments. Jack Smith. Yeah. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to drop this quick update on you guys today. Hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy fun day. If you haven't already, please hit the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one.